Welcome to episode 21 of the Creating Responsible Companies podcast. Today we're continuing our series on working from home responsibly, and today we are talking about self-care. My name is Janet Craig. I'm one of the founding partners of Destination Better, the company that brings you the Creating Responsible Companies podcast. Today we're recording this on April 7th, 2020. And we are talking with Rachel Stone today, the founder of Love and Shift, about something we could all use a little help with, and that is self-care. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 keys to self-care, minding your stress instead of stressing your mind.
Thank you, Janet. I'm Barbara Anderson. I'm the other co-host of Creating Responsible Companies. And I'm so excited to tell you a little bit about our friend Rachel Stone. She's a master's level therapist with over 20 years of experience in community and behavioral health. She embraces her life as an author, speaker, grief counselor, life coach, quality improvement specialist, and natural born leader with a zest for living life to the fullest. She's been told that her laugh is infectious. Her passion is to spread love, light, and laughter throughout the world by helping men, women, and children overcome stress, anxiety, and depression. Her track record with helping to heal clients from chronic mental illnesses is incredibly high. She uses a whole body, mind, and spirit approach, therapeutic skills, connection, and compassion to inspire a life of happiness, health, and empowerment to those who crave it. And as always, Janet and I promise a free resource for our listeners in each of our episodes. And Rachel has put together some terrific tips that we'll be sharing with you at our website at destinationbetter.com/21 for episode 21.
Welcome, Rachel, to the Creating Responsible Companies podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Well,
I love being here.
We know that you're going to have lots of great information to share, and it's such just a stressful time for everybody. And if there's one person who knows what we're going through and how to help, it's you. So can you tell us first about what brought you to start Love and Shift?
So I like to joke and say, because people mishear it, it's not love and shit, it's love and shift. Although the two can kind of go, hand in hand sometimes when we're talking about love. But I decided, my background is in therapy. I've been a therapist for a long time, and I decided to kind of branch out into life coaching and start my own business as with Love and Shift, because I thought that I could probably reach a lot more people that way, and also kind of do things my way, instead of working under the bureaucratic umbrella. Because I did have a pretty high success rate with a lot of my clients, but also, there was a lot of politicking and things like that I just was not interested in. And when I was working, I've worked with a number of different organizations that I've absolutely loved, and I've taken pieces of those, working at all those different places, and kind of put together my own style. I mean, we all have our own styles, but and self-care, the reason I named it Love and Shift is because, well, it's kind of all about the love, baby. Self-care and self-love needs to be the top priority if you want to get well. If you want to be happy, healthy, and feel empowered in your life, love is really kind of the first step. But there's lots of ways to love yourself and love others, of course. So that's how I kind of got started. I did write a book. It's called Love Affair 101, 5 Keys to Taking Charge of Your Life and Feeling Loved Again After Divorce, because that was something that I went through personally myself. And after many years of stumbling through and kind of figuring that out, I decided to write a book. And and after that was when I really kind of launched into doing life coaching, and I have loved it. I haven't looked back. So that's how it got started.
And we're glad that you did, Rachel.
Thank
And
you.
as Janet indicated, we are recording on April 7th, 2020. So this is in the middle of the pandemic. And I think we all kind of have these roller coaster almost days, right? Where
Oh my
we're
gosh.
try to block it out and focus on what we can do and what we can control. And then,
Yeah.
like I'll flip on the news on the radio or the TV, and then I'm like sucked back in about this is
Yep.
god awful what's going on
Yes.
now. And so
Yeah.
that's why Janet and I started this series about working from home responsibly, to try to
Yep.
give people tools, because we can't be sucked into it every day. We feel
Right.
terrible for all of the awful things that are happening, but at the
Yeah.
same time we thought, what can we do to help give back to people who are in need? And I love how you say that you try to help people who crave and want to move on. So what are you hearing in terms of what's taking place kind of emotionally and stress-wise from people during this time?
Well, I would have to say, just like COVID, nobody is immune to the outside stressors. Like we're all being affected one way or another, whether you're man, woman, or child. And even somebody who is at a high level of happiness and healthiness, you're still going to be affected no matter what. I think my concern really is the people who have mental illness. All of your emotions are going to be amplified, and so all across the board, self-care and stress reduction is so vital during this time. As a matter of fact, stress actually decreases your ability to fight viruses and diseases. And so that like all the more reason, especially during a pandemic, that we take very good care of ourselves to keep our immune systems high so that we can fight things like COVID or even just, like allergies. So there's like chronic disease and COVID, and then there's things that like everybody can be affected by, like like allergies or like just basic colds. But the key now is really to reduce your stress so that you can like move forward with a healthy immune system, and also not kind of debilitate yourself with the stressors of the world. I do think that like you're totally on point with everybody's being affected and going through kind of the roller coaster of emotions. Like that's really natural. That's totally normal. No one is immune from that. I'm doing that too. And it, the best thing that you can do when I actually have, I put together 5 key components that will help with reducing your stress, increasing your immune system, and making sure that you can be as healthy as possible during this time.
What's really interesting for me when we think about the fact that we do have lots of people that are stressed out. There are a lot of people who suffer from mental illness on different levels,
Yeah.
some that and they manage it different ways. But what's interesting is that for some people, going to the office is kind of a safe space for them,
Oh,
right?
for sure. For
Right.
sure. It's even the same for kids, like the school. I think about that a lot. It kind of weighs heavy on my mind is that school was a place where some kids who lived in lower economic kind of status that's where they got free food. They got away from kind of the poverty. If there was abuse in the home, now everybody has to be like in their homes and are kind of grappling not just with their own personal stress of all the uncertainty and the change in their regular routines, but also some people's home lives are really not that great, and they're being confined to their homes. Despite that, there still are things that people can do to keep their stress lowered if they're able to kind of pay attention to what's going on for them in their bodies. I mean,
Right.
obviously the key component is really recognizing when you're stressed, and then doing something about it. So
What's when we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm having this, like, I'm really stressed out right now. It's what
yeah.
are the first things that I can do to start to calm myself down?
That's a great question. So I would say the very first thing, and this is something I kind of highly recommend for everyone is, and it sounds really silly, but just like Barb was saying, where she's watching the news and then like trying to do her work and can't concentrate, and then she's seeing something else on, and then somebody calls her, like you're really distracted. And like that is your moment to just breathe. And there is a breathing technique that is so simple, and that where you breathe in, you put your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly. And the reason that you do that is so that you can keep your body and your mind and your heart connected. And so when you put your hand on your heart, that's so that you're heart centered. You put your hand on your belly so that you know that you're breathing correctly. A lot of times when people take a deep breath in, they think that they're supposed to like suck it in. That's not correct. When you're breathing in, you want to take a nice deep breath where you're filling in your lungs and your belly. So when you're filling in your lungs and your belly, you'll feel your belly fill up. You'll feel it go out. You want it to, right? So what I suggest to do is you have your hand on your heart, your hand on your belly. You take a deep breath in to a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold for 5. And then release 4, 3, 2, 1. And once you do that intentionally, just a couple times, then you can kind of get really woo-woo with it. I'm all about the woo-woo. And you can, when you're breathing in like goodness and like goodness, love, gratitude, health, peace, and holding that in and filling your heart. And then breathing out, you're letting go of any of the stress, anxiety, sadness, fear, uncertainty. And when you start to do that intentionally, what I would suggest when you're feeling really stressed throughout the day is to catch yourself and then if you can take, it doesn't even need to be long. It could be like 8 to 10 minutes each time. That could be like your timeout. And like maybe after you watch the news,
Yeah,
that
right.
would be kind of the perfect, like, okay, I need to breathe, like, but the point is when you're doing that is that we're so overstimulated. The funniest part about everyone having to take a break and go inside and socially, I hate to say the word isolate, socially distance, is that we typically as just human beings are constantly overstimulated, which causes us stress. And so when you're taking that time out for yourself and breathing, you're reconnecting, and you're making your sensory overload take a break. And what that does is it lowers your stress and it increases your immunity to things that are like all around us, all those all those gross chemicals. What happens when you're stressed, this is actually kind of a funny thing, but we're not meant to be in like long-term stress. Like our bodies are not made for that. The stress response is good for us in short term. Like if you think about, if you avoid like a car accident, somebody pulls out in front of you and you're like, hey, and you lay on your horn, you might flip them off, who knows? And then you drive away, like your armpits sweat a little bit, you might sweat, like break out in a sweat, but then you're like, phew, and it's over, right? Then you drive into work, and day after day after day, your boss is yelling at you, you have a problem with a coworker, or whatever the issue may be. And then you go home and like your relationship isn't so good. Your kids are out of control. All you want to do is go to bed, and it's like rinse and repeat. And you're under this constant stress and overstimulation. What that does is it completely lowers your immune system. And especially if it's long-term, that's what causes chronic disease, is when you're under long-term stress. And we can put a stop to that just by breathing. And then you add some of these other things in. When you learn how to breathe, people can meditate. You can do walking meditation. People think that meditation is, like, it's not. You can do walking meditation. Journaling is a form of meditation. As long as you're taking that time out and breathing and taking time to reconnect with yourself, with your soul, with your spirit, that's going to lower your stress. And that's good self-care.
Those are such great tips and things that people can do really anywhere
Yeah.
that they are, right? Well, and one thing that I like to do, Rachel, is kind of the work hard, play hard is really intense exercise.
Excellent.
And the outdoor program that I'm used to going to is now not able to meet. The gyms are closed, right? And so that leaves kind of a scary little walk around the block, hoping I don't breathe in somebody's, virus. So, but tell us about the importance of exercise, because it is so important that we keep that going, right? In some form.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So studies show that when you exercise, it actually changes the chemistry in your body. It changes you physiologically. Oftentimes depression actually tricks your body into thinking that you really don't need to do anything, and that you like to stay in bed and think bad thoughts. I mean, like, just to keep it really simple. And when we're, being told to socially isolate and we're scared to go outside, it makes it that much harder to make sure that you're taking that time. What I would recommend is exercising at least 20 to 30 minutes a day. And if you need to do it in your house, there are tons of YouTube videos out there. I know that the exercise class that I do has started doing Zoom calls. They also have Facebook Lives. There's video. Their Beachbody by Demand is probably blowing up right now.
I think YMCA too.
Yes, there are tons and tons and tons of ways to exercise, and it doesn't have to be strenuous, and we don't have to all be gladiators out there. You can even just walking is like, it gets your body moving. That whole, if you don't move it, you lose it. Well, in this case, if you don't move it, you really could lose it, and not just physically. Like, you could lose your mind if you don't move it. Like, you really need it's vital for anybody to make sure that they're exercising daily, for sure.
Yeah. And folks like myself, as extroverts who live alone, it's great to get out and see other fellow humans who aren't flat on a screen. And this weekend I was walking, and a lady was gardening in her front yard. And she saw me out of the corner of her eye. I was on a bicycle way far away, way more than 6 feet away. And she looked up and evidently had the same reaction. She goes, "Hi." I said, "Hello, fellow human." There's something about seeing other real people, right?
It's true. And I have lots of friends that are introverts who have said that this was like a dream for them to be told that they have to stay home, but not anymore. Like, they're like, okay, I've had my fill. I need to be out with people before I go crazy. Like, they want nothing more than to be invited to a party, an in-person party, a hug party. Can we just have a hug party?
That's funny.
It's true. That's true. Exercise is really important, for sure. And human contact is important also. But if you can't get it from, like person to person at this time, the next best thing really is like on video chat.
Yeah. I've had some great meetings. And with friends and family and stuff.
Right. Exactly.
So one of the things that I've come away with this is that when Barbara and I were able to go out to our office, and sometimes we went out to lunch, or people that we work with would bring us yummy goodies and things like that. And we actually have a thing of M&Ms in one of our drawers.
They have protein in them.
They do.
Right.
Sounds wonderful.
But so, and with the limited number of groceries now that are at the grocery store and the limited number of trips, What I found, actually, I'm going to take, is this making lemonade out of lemons? Is that I have not allowed myself to buy any bad, cheap food. So I'm eating whatever's in my refrigerator. But
Wow.
I want to talk about, except for the cupcake from Kraft Cafe. But I want you to talk to us about why eating right goes along with breathing and exercising for our total immune system and stress release.
Right. So, so our bodies are like our vessels, and so if we can think of ourselves sort of like we're like, we need to like fuel ourselves up, and when we're depleted, the total wrong thing to fuel our bodies with are like processed foods, lots of sugar, highly caffeinated things, lots of alcohol. I know a lot of people are going to be very disappointed when I say that, because I know that probably a lot of people have added wine to their list of groceries a lot. I will say, as long as things are in moderation, that's probably fine. But if you want to keep your bodily stress low and your immune system high, there are better ways to do that. Like, just like Mama says, eat your fruits and veggies, leafy greens, good fruits, stay away from sugar as much as sugar. I am a total sugar addict, and I fully admit it. But I have been really trying to practice what I preach. And you can do, stevia or honey. There's all sorts of other alternatives that are healthier for you and taste just as good. We're just not used to implementing them. What you said, Janet, about just cooking like what you have at home, and that is so spot on. Like, that's perfect, is making sure, like, if you're cooking more rather than eating out, it's better. And like I said, leafy greens, fruits and veggies are high on the list. The other thing that you can do that is easy and somewhat cheap is to do shakes. I know, like, we have, I love Shaklee products. And it's a company that one of the Nobel Peace Prize winners, who is a medical doctor, is part of their medical team that puts together all of their products. They're like uber organic, and they're tasty. They're good for you. And we have shakes like every single day, because they're chocked full of supplements that are good for you and boost your immune system. They have vitamins and all of that too. And I think coming up pretty soon that they have like an immunity kit challenge, that if people are interested in that, I'm happy to help them learn more about it. But that's another way to get your healthy dose of good foods and kind of ward off and starve all the bad foods. I love that. There's like a Native American story where the grandfather is talking with the grandson, and is talking about how we all have two wolves inside us. There's the good wolf and the bad wolf. And he's like, well, how do you know which one to so that the bad one doesn't come out? Like, what do you do? And he's like, you don't feed it. Don't feed the bad one. Feed only the good one. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the foods that we're putting in our body. Like, you want to starve like anything that is going to cause any kind of stress levels in your body, and you want to feed things that are going to boost your immune system, boost your, like your stress fighting agents, and kind of starve and stave off any of the things that would be bad for you. And now is the best time ever to do that.
It is, yeah. That's a great idea. And the shakes, and they taste good too.
They do.
So it seems like we've been kind of picked up from one environment and almost overnight thrown into a different environment with different expectations, different demands on us, different work styles and everything. Is there like some guardrails that you can give us kind of to stay in, to keep our sanity?
Yes. I would say as much as you can, that I would recommend not going on social, unless it's part of your job, not going on the news and social media, but maybe like once a day. I would say to limit that as much as possible and increase ways that you can make yourself feel good. One thing that I know that I have been doing and recommending to my clients to do is, I call it the 3 C's. There's control, community, and comfort. And I have people make a list of all of the, like one full page for each one, for each C letter. And notice COVID is not in there. So,
That's a good point.
right, all of the things that give you comfort, whether it be walking your dog, taking a nap, that's fine. Arts and crafts, taking a hot bath, anything that gives you comfort, writing, reading, anything. And make a whole huge list of all of those things, and then choose 3 of those from your list every single day and intentionally do them for you, so that you're practicing good self-care intentionally just for you. And then for community, make a list of all of the different people that you have in your community, whether it be your family, whether it be your workout buddies. It could be people that you work with that you like, but it has to be people that actually make you feel good when you're around them, that raise your energy. And then call one of them every single day, no matter what, so that you're not completely isolated, so that you're reaching out, so that you're still connecting, and so that you're resourced, so that if you ever needed help with anything, that there's people that you can call. And then last but not least is control. And the control piece is making a list of all of the things that you actually do have control over, because so often what you focus on is what will grow. So if you're focused on all of the uncertainty and all the things that you don't have control over, that's going to increase your stress. So what you want to focus on are the things that you do have control over. And there's a lot in the world to be grateful for. Like, we have roofs over our heads, we have food in our refrigerator, a car, access to money if we need it, family. The list can go on and on and on. And I would encourage people to make that list so that they know what they're grateful for and what they focus on and what they can control, so that they can kind of release the things that they're not able to control. And when you're focusing on gratitude, you can't, there's actually studies show that you can't be both grateful and depressed at the same time. It's like impossible to do. If you're focusing on gratitude, love, peace, like all the good stuff, that's what grows, is what you focus on instead of the bad stuff.
I think I've shared this with people before, is that 2 things. One, there was a study that came out last year that showed, that was a study of patients who had muscular dystrophy. And they wrote for 2 to 3 minutes every day about what they were grateful for. And within 6 months, their medications or pain medications had been reduced by 50%.
Yeah. The crazy thing is that our minds, like when we're not minding our stress is taking over. Like it really does. And then we're victims to our own stress. But when we are consciously taking charge of our, like, minding our own stress instead of it taking over us, then we're if you think of the word disease, it's dis-ease. Like, that's what causes chronic illnesses, is this dis-ease that we have in our minds. And so if our minds are so powerful to create diseases, our minds are also that powerful to diminish them and to heal our bodies. And like, that's such a strong statement, but it's completely true. Like that's what's so remarkable. That's why I love doing life coaching, is because I carry a torch with that. I really want to show people that, because it's totally true,
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, really amazing. And then just one other thing on the positive mindset, which was your step number 5 in being really grateful, is that on the weekends, and I think I probably started this around 6 months ago, my children are grown and gone. The only thing that's here with me is a cat. And I started having either a silent Saturday or a silent Sunday. And I turn everything off. I don't read social media. I don't even listen to music. As a musician, that's a
Wow.
big deal for me, not to listen to music.
That's
But I
huge.
write, or I'll go take a walk, or I won't even listen to something while I take a walk, or maybe I'll go paddle and I won't listen to anything.
That's
But it's
wonderful.
really amazing. And when you
Yeah.
first do it, and I don't know, I've asked some of my friends, I'm like, gosh, we got a bunch of kids in the house. Y'all should have like a silent morning and just see what happens. But it's amazing how that silence resets you,
Yeah.
and you do all the things that are on your list, which is
Yeah.
breathing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel myself just taking this big deep breath of, oh, I've shut off the stressors, right? I can
Yeah.
actually hear the birds,
Yeah.
which is step
Yeah.
one. Step two, exercising. Go out for a walk. You don't have to have
Yeah.
all the noise going on. Eating right, which of course is like so important. And we have a real opportunity right now to eat right and not eat stressed, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and then I love your comfort, community, and control, and just looking at those lists and making those lists for yourself. And then
Yeah.
one, which is just like really having a positive mindset and taking 2 or 3 minutes a day and writing things that you're really grateful for, or even texting a friend and saying, hey,
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you shift your focus, it really makes a huge difference. The key is making that decision to do that. And I think very often people, there's like a side benefit to being a victim because then you're not responsible for your own life. I hate to say that out loud, but like that's sort of the bottom line. But when you work through doing, like the 3 C's and exercise, like you can't ignore that you are responsible for your own life, that you're not a victim, that you do have some control, and that you can do things to like make you reset and feel better and then live a much more empowered life, and you can't beat it. When you feel empowered, you don't ever feel like somebody has done something to you. And if you ever do feel like that, that's like your key, that's your cue to make some changes so that you're back in control. I actually had a client that I worked with recently who, when I did the 3 C's activity with her, it was her homework assignment. And then the following week when we talked, she was just incredulous about it. Like she could not believe, she's like, I really had no idea that I had so many people that I could reach out to, or I really had no idea that I was able to actually do some of these things. She had little kids and she's a single mom. So just taking a shower every day was very meaningful for her. And I was like, you need to make that happen,
Yeah.
And when she did, she felt so much better, Another little thing that you can do find your, like you can do, what's it called? Like an anchor memory, where if you have a hard time thinking of things that you're grateful for, what I would encourage people to do is try to think of a time in your life when you felt unconditional love. And it can be unconditional towards somebody else, or that you felt like somebody had unconditional love for you. And if you can anchor that memory, anytime that you're feeling really bad, think of that anchor memory. I'm almost a little embarrassed to share it, but like my anchor memory was nursing my son, because he would look up at me as I was like holding him. It was like our special time. And he would look up at me, and like we would lock eyes, and he would twirl my hair. And it just was this beautiful unconditional love. So whenever I'm feeling crappy, that's my anchor memory that I go to, which is really funny because sometimes it's him, like I'll be mad at him and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to get back to the anchor memory.
I love that anchor memory.
Yeah. So that's a really great way to kind of like solidify your gratitude and naturally raise your own energetic vibration so that you feel better even in moments when you're fearful, uncertain, or feeling out of control. Yep.
I feel better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this is really, really helpful. And I think too that we are the only ones who can do it for ourselves, as much as we reach
Absolutely.
out and like your list of community and everything, but still we
Yeah.
have to be the one to initiate it and acknowledge that we need
Yeah.
help and take care of
Absolutely.
ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. It's all about the love and all about being empowered. For sure. That's the key.
I love it.
So before we close,
Yes.
just a reminder to our listeners about this series that we are creating to hopefully make everybody's life a little bit better and less stressful. It's been just really amazing talking to you today. I swear.
It's been great. It's been great.
I started on a 9. I think I'm around a 2 now.
That's so great.
It's so
That's awesome.
right?
Rachel, she's great.
She's so amazing. So we've been talking about remote working strategies and instant stress release, how to have really productive virtual meetings, which people I'm sure get stressed out about, and maybe now they won't be so stressed out about them if they listen to Rachel's tips. Pet Zoom etiquette. It's just been, so we're going to probably be adding some more to our series because we want to be able to give back during this time and kind of make people feel like they're not alone, that we're
You're
all
not. You're never alone.
together.
Yeah.
Barbara, anything that you want to summarize with? You always do such great summaries. This is
I think this is just such good information, and it's so practical, and someone can just take it and use it. And as we talked about, it's going to be on our website. And I love the way that you coined it, 5 keys to self-care, minding your stress instead of stressing your mind.
Amen.
Yes, it's really, I just think it's such a great, simple little 5 steps that are so powerful at the same time. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And you'll have to tell our listeners how they can find you, Rachel Stone.
Oh, yes. So I have a website and it's loveandshift.com. It's www.loveandshift.com. It's all spelled out. And you could also email me at rachel@loveandshift.com. So either way is fine. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. It's pretty easy to find me. But I would, like my whole thing is that I really would love to kind of spread love and light and laughter throughout the world and end suffering. That's it feels like it could be like a mountain of a task, but as long as I'm helping like one person at a time, I'm good. So that's what I wish for the world.
That's a great wish. And you do that one-on-one, you do speaking, group coaching, retreats, and all kinds of things. So there's a lot of ways to get some Rachel goodness for yourself too.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. This was really great. So we want to thank our listeners for listening to these special episodes. Hopefully they'll catch the earlier ones. I think that started episode 15 to 21 here where we are today. So called Working from Home Responsibly. We hope these are tools that our listeners can take and just put into practice. Again, there are all the resources and also the audio and video are available at destinationbetter.com on our episodes page. So thank you for listening. Again, thank you to Rachel. And
you're welcome.
We hope this is helpful for everyone. Thanks again, Rachel.
Thank you.